What's up, everybody? We're almost done with this international break, and we have, thankfully, a game that can hopefully get us back on the winning track this weekend. Because I'm not going to lie, before I looked at the schedule, because I've kind of enjoyed this peaceful hiatus from Chelsea games the last couple weeks, this might be the first time in years I've actually been happy with an international break. I thought I remembered our first match back being against City, and I was over here quite worried and sad, thinking that, yes, I'm a homer. For the first time in this channel's history, I was going to be predicting a fat L, okay? But that's not going to be happening today because we're going to be playing against Port Vale. Okay, so this match against Port Vale should be, emphasis, italics, quotations, underline, under should be a gimme win. And I know probably some of you are thinking, Will, how on earth can there be any gimme wins with the current state of this team, right? We're proclaiming that we had £260 million loss on last year's pre-tax revenue. We're saying we should fire the manager we hired 2 months ago. We're saying Bluco out. We're having Enzo Fernandez proclaiming his love for Real Madrid, which is gross. And Marc Cucurella's whining, which I actually like his whining. I think that could be a good story to follow. His kind of voice, his kind of leadership and authority, I think does demand a level of respect from Todd Boehly and Egbali. So hopefully that could be good. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is there's a lot of crap going on. Chelsea, in a lot of ways, is not looking positive. However, this match is one which, regardless of all that information, should be, I'm still going to say, a gimme win. Watch that bite me in the butt, and if it does, then we're going to be looking at a darker place than we've looked in a long time, because this is a quarterfinal match in the Cup, which is still a really big deal. Remember, it's a really big competition that we're in. Thankfully, it's not the Carabao Cup, it's the FA Cup. And Port Vale, let me put it this way, are terrible. Okay, Port Vale are a terrible team. It's just, we got to be straight up about it. Yes, they've had a great cup run, which, if I'm being honest, I haven't, of course, watched them at all. I don't know a whole lot about their cup run, but what I do know is that they are in EFL League One. If you're not familiar with the scheme of how the leagues work, you're right, you have the Premier League, then the Championship, then you have League One, Port Vale's league, then League Two, and so on and so forth. So they're in the third division, and they are plumb in the basement of the third division. I might pop up a screen clipping here, or if I don't, just know they are the last place in third division, and they are about 12 points away from safety. 12 points away from safety at this point in the year. So they're already basically in EFL League 2, and just give that some perspective, right? We've actually done really well recently with dealing with even pretty solid championship teams, and we're not dealing with a championship team. We're dealing with a third division tier team who is basically already relegated. So that's who we're playing against this weekend on Saturday. And I'm going to pop up right here. I'm going to screen share from whoscored.com. It's a website I really like that kind of shows play styles, strengths and weaknesses of teams, even teams in League One, which is really cool to see. Because you never know, maybe Chelsea will be there one day. Totally kidding. I'm still just struggling in my heart, as all of you are, with the state of our club. But let's just look at this, right? Because none of us have probably ever watched Port Vale. So what are their strengths? Their strengths are probably what a lot of you guys would expect. Aerial duels, shooting from direct free kicks, things like that. Also, sorry about the highway noises. Hopefully they will cease soon. Nonetheless, so like a lot of teams, right, they base themselves upon capitalizing on free kick opportunities, corner kicks, winning things in the air, right? Just kind of brutish football, which is fair, right? There's teams in the Premier League that play the same way. So they're going to be trying to capitalize off of that, which means we have to be very, very careful in the way that we act around the box, the way that we give away free corners, that type of thing, because that's the way they're going to look to get into the game. They're probably going to park the bus to a very hard extent. You see down here, this is the way they play. It's basically a 5-3-2, essentially, right, with basically wing backs and the three center backs. So if you're imagining it's Chelsea, they'll probably just pit both these wing backs mainly back in a back five. and really park the bus until they can play for a couple counterattacks and capitalizing, like we said, on direct free kicks. So who are some players that we can maybe look out for? So, right, these are their average ratings in League One. This guy's name is Devontae Cole. He's kind of dual citizenship with England and Jamaica, and he has capped for Jamaica before. He has something like 6 goals in league play this year for them. He's decent. I think he maybe was from City's academy back in the day. So he's a decent player. They do have a couple injuries as well, but I'm not going to get too deep in this, right? Because this is, again, all due respect to them as a club. They're not in a good way right now. They're about to get relegated to the 4th tier, which is a horrible situation for them. So this is the way they line up. I would expect them to, again, play for the counter and really just hope for basically just getting back into the game through some kind of one-off opportunity. Weaknesses, keeping possession of the ball and finishing scoring chances. So that's not a surprise. That plays into kind of what we're expecting, right? They don't play for having high percentage possession. They play off staying in the game and capitalizing off brief glimpses of opportunities. So that's Port Vale. That's enough of that. Now I want to look briefly at a little bit of team news. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so again, I'm here on the London Standard, and we're just gonna look at a few things here. There's not a whole lot of affirmed news for us. I don't really think there's an update too much on Reece James. We know he's struggling with a hamstring problem. He was not at England's camp, which is good timing, honestly, for him. Not for the World Cup, but for club. Absolutely. Hopefully he'll be back soon. I don't expect him to be back, and I don't think he'd play in this game either. And you'll see when I build the squad together that I'm going to have a very rotated squad, because I do think that's probably what's going to happen, right? Most of these players are coming back from travel that are in the starting 11, and nonetheless, I don't think they'd start even if it wasn't following an international break because of our competition. So Reece James likely won't feature. Trev is out for several more weeks with his ankle injury, if you saw that unfortunate injury. Levi's obviously not back yet. Benoit had a virus before the international break. He should be back. Jorgensen's not back. That's not a big deal for me. Gittins, I haven't seen anything certain about him. If he is back, I think he could definitely feature in this game. I don't know if he'd start because he's been out for so long, but if he's good to go, I think he'll probably get a half hour. So that's some of the news there. Then they have some players out, like I mentioned, but that's not a huge deal for us to talk about. And like I said, there's a couple kind of small notes to look at. Reece should be coming back hopefully sometime soon. Trev is out for a while, and Benoit should be good to go. So that's just a couple things with team news. I think none of the injuries we have, I think, will impact us very much because of the rotated squad I think we're already expected to have. So that's just a little bit of update with that. Of course, a lot of players will be coming back for international duty, which means they'll have to all basically be reassessed and reintegrated into all be in the same time zone, right? Finishing travel, getting rid of jet lag, making sure they don't have any knocks from international camp. So that should be interesting viewing for sure. But apart from that, now I just want to hop into building a lineup together, talking about how I rotated it, seeing if you agree, and then we'll do a match prediction and call it a day. So you see here, right here, we have of course, our 4-2-3-1, and it's heavily rotated. I still have Rob Sanchez. Let's just hop into it in between the pipes. No surprise there. I don't think Jorgensen's healthy. I don't think he's good enough either. He would probably play this game if he was healthy, but I doubt that he's healthy yet. So Rob keeps playing. I don't really think he should need rest. Obviously, he had this international break for rest anyway. Backline heavily rotated. Josh Achimpong, right back. Mamadou Sarr, center back. Benoit, center back, pairing with Sarr, and Yorel Hato on the left. Of course, it's very young, right? There's a lot of potential holes in that back line. However, if they can't compete and lock down essentially a 4th tier team, then why did we ever recruit them? And I still have high hopes for Hato, Sarr, and Achimpong. Benoit, I don't think he'll last, but hopefully this could be a good game to get his feet under him and potentially get some suitors for the summer. In the midfield, I'm going to go with a pairing of Andre Santos and Romeo Lavia. I will say there's been a lot of negatives in the past weeks, but Lavia I have thought looked fairly decent. He's starting to rack up some more minutes, which hopefully that lasts. But you can see why he's such a good player. He's press resistant. He's really good at distributing the ball, carrying the ball through difficult areas in the pitch, and kind of being a good metronome for the midfield. So I'm going to have him with Andre because I don't think any of our big boys like Enzo or Moises will play. And then the three right behind Delap, I'm going to have Stevo back because I think he's good to go. He didn't go to international camp. I think this could be a great game to get under his belt, to get his feet under him, to get to the right tempo and pace, and hopefully be good to go for the rest of the season because we need him high flying and functioning. And then we have Garnacho in the 10. He has done that before, and the reason I have him doing that is because on left wing I don't think Gittins will play, and I'm going to play Jesse Derry. I think that'd be a very interesting cameo to see. I do think there's a precedent for playing some academy players in games like this, and Jesse Derry's already played a little bit, and I think he's looked promising. Great talent, so I'm playing Jesse Derry on the left. So kind of a fun front three behind Delap there, actually, I think. And then, like I said, Liam Delap up top. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about what's going to happen with Delap, if I'm being completely honest. He has been horrible this season, to put it in simple terms. He's not been good at all. Even in games against poor opposition, he's been bad. Yes, I know he's had injuries, but that can only be an excuse for so long, right? It's been a long time since he was injured, and it still hasn't worked out for him. So hopefully this game could be a good game for him to maybe get a couple goals, right? To get some confidence back and maybe chip in 3-4 goals throughout the rest of the season in the Premier League, and rounding out the season with what will still be disappointing, but maybe something he can build off of if he stays the course with Chelsea for next year. So that's my starting 11. Very rotated, heavily rotated, because I do think that's what's going to happen. I'm interested if you guys agree with that lineup. But now let's hop over and we're going to finish up the video by doing a little bit of a score prediction. All right, so that is the starting 11 I have for us. Yes, we're a club in complete turmoil, but Port Vale is as well, right? They're about to get relegated to the 4th tier. They're doing terribly. They're sitting on 31 points at the near end of the season. There shouldn't be any hope for them in this game, and I don't think there is. Even though I know we're in a tough area and this is a rotated squad, I think we're going to win this game 4-1. I still don't think there'll be a clean sheet. I'd love it if there was, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was one goal scored off some kind of free kick like we talked about, corner kick shenanigans, which feels like that happens every game. We can't just boot it out. There's some kind of ping pong going on after a corner, and it always seems to go in. But nonetheless, that's what my prediction is. I think we're going to get goals from Stevo. I think we're going to get one from Andre Santos. He's going to chip in. I'm going for a Delap goal. And lastly, I think we're going to get a Champong goal. So that's my prediction for the game. I think we're going to take advantage of their horrible form, their lack of quality, and I think we're going to come back fresh off of break. They did not have break, obviously, and we're going to get a 4-1 victory. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down below on the rotated squad, how you feel about the news of the money losses, the news of Enzo and Mark Cucurella's comments, all those things. We'll dig into more of that type of content the closer we get to the end of the season. But for now, we focus on the games ahead. So I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the weekend.